A very good afternoon to the almost 10,000 participants who are joining us for this session organized by the Digital Accounting and Assurance Standards Board, that is the DAB of ICAI. We have with us the Chairman of DAB, C. Manu Agarwal ji, the Vice Chairman, C. Dayanivas Sharma ji, and the two prolific speakers who are going to take us through the session, C. Sachin Dedia ji and C. Anand Jangir ji. I welcome all of you to this session and a very warm welcome to all the wonderful participants who have gathered for this virtual CPE meeting on cybersecurity, new avenues of practice. Friends, as you are aware, your DAB under the chairmanship of Manuji and vice chairmanship of Dayabai has been doing these specific seminars to bring about to the attention of members the ocean of opportunities that lie in front of you in the era of technology, in the digital era that we have. What bigger statement to underscore the importance of technology and finance than what we read in the newspapers yesterday in the form of Paytm, which is categorized as a fintech company, merging financial and technology together, which will create the largest IPO in the country. I think if there was one testament all of us, or a reassurance, or a reaffirmation all of us wanted, that the future lies in finance and technology put together, look at this upcoming IPO, which is going to value the company at some $3 billion plus. And I think that itself is a testament for all of us to understand that this is where the world is going. This is where the future is traveling. Rather, this is where the present already is in terms of Paytm and various other companies. And we as chartered accountants have always been acknowledged as thought leaders, as people who have paved the way. It may be in the area and domain of taxation, direct earlier and then indirect now in GST. It may be accounting, it may be all other aspects. The mettle of chartered accountants has been recognized across all forums. Our chartered accountants lead in HR function. We have chartered accountants who are successful entrepreneurs. And therefore, there is nothing that a chartered accountant cannot do once they have determined to follow a particular line. And I think as the mandate of DAB, it is to bring about awareness regarding the digital avenues, digital changes, and show the opportunities to all the members to bring it to their attention that this is where the future is. These are where the opportunities is. And as the old saying goes, you can only bring the camel to the well. I think the role of DAB is bringing all of us, I include myself and all the other chapters. We are all here to understand from the experts and from DAB how we can make a career out of cybersecurity. We learned in the last session about the ISA qualified members, of how you can have a systems audit profession. How ISA is not just restricted or limited to getting a bank audit or doing bank audits of branches and its internal systems and audit or information systems audit, but you can use your IS certification and there are magnitude of opportunities that lie in front of us. The only thing is we need that vision of where to start knocking the door. Similarly, I'm confident in today's session that is going to be first started by Sachin Dedia ji and then Anand Jangir ji. Both renowned faculties of DAB, you would have seen them on various sessions. They will be discussing cybersecurity, how it comes as an opportunity to chartered accountants. The word cyber, of course, is technology, but security is something we've all known for years through internal controls, through other physical security and financial security models. How do you move from basics of cybersecurity to the advanced? And what comes in terms of technology with the risk of cybersecurity? We have all not just seen the risk of cybersecurity in some isolated cases in the newspapers, or maybe some of the clients that we may be servicing. Some of the chartered accountants have also faced, for example, ransomware threats, where their data on their own desktops, laptops, or servers was taken over by these ransomwares, encrypted and kept aside, and then Bitcoins or some other form of cryptocurrencies was demanded to get our own basic data. So let's first understand how we can use and understand cybersecurity techniques to protect, safeguard our own data, because that is the requirement of our standards, our ethical standards, our SQCs. And then once we master it on our own, once we've implemented that in our own offices, how can we make that as a career path, as an opportunity for advisory services, for consulting services, to bring it out to other stakeholders and create that as a profession of choice? There is a lot of competition in the traditional areas of accounting, audit, GST, income tax. I think therefore it is under that mandate that your DAB at the central level is undertaking these programs. And I would once again compliment the entire board and all the faculties associated with it, along with our team in the office, for leading and guiding us the way. I would now request the Honorable Chairman of DAB, CA Manu Agarwalji, to please give his opening address for this session.
Thank you. Thank you, Aniketji. Very good afternoon to the Vice Chairman of the committee, Dayaniva Sharma-ji, the two learned faculties, Anand Jangir-ji and Sachin Dedia-ji, and to all the wonderful viewers of this webinar. Well, friends, Aniket, who's an integral part of the Digital Accounting and Assurance Board and is instrumental in designing and helping out in all these ventures, has introduced the topic, has given a brief introduction of what we are in for. Well, friends, the thinking at DAB is in the current scenario where it is said that the role of a chartered accountant is going to be changed, that the traditional way of auditing is going to be changed, and a lot of work which was done by people manually is now going to be automated, and a few things may not at all remain as tasks because they would have been automated. So in this era of change, in this era of fast change, I would say, the Digital Accounting and Assurance Board of the Institute, taking cognizance of this, has tried to explore, to develop, and to educate members on various other areas of practice. We feel that if we have to adapt technology, why not make this technology a new area of practice, a new area of opportunity for all the chartered accountants. Today, we are going to dwell on cybersecurity. Well, you all must have heard the term cybersecurity audit. And whenever you hear the term audit, chartered accountant is automatically associated, or it seems to be something of our domain. At the outset, we may try and think, or people may say that this cybersecurity is the work of an engineer. This cybersecurity is the work of some expert. Well, today, we have two experts in this field who I think will quell or quash this myth and will tell us, will guide us, and will ensure that at the end of the session, we all start thinking that cybersecurity audit is something which should be done by chartered accountants. As Aniket rightly said, that we should start from our offices, start from securing our own data, which is something which the SQCs also say, which is something which is the need of the hour. He's very right. I just had a client 2 days back who was not a chartered accountant, but a client who said he has been attacked by ransomware. All his data, all his tally data was hacked away. The demand is in Bitcoins, it's starting from 25 lakh rupees. Well, I've heard, I do not know, but I've heard that normally it starts from 25 lakh rupees and boils down to some 50, 60, 70,000 rupees if you negotiate well. But it does not end there. There are numerous risks. Even after paying at times, the data is not available, or there may be subsequent attacks you are prone. So even in that, even if you're paying, you have to be very careful. You have to know how to get the key, how to get the solution. That is also a challenge, because in the garb of a solution, they introduce something else, which creates another problem. So, well, the objective of today's session, friends, is that we learn the nitty-gritties. We understand what is cybersecurity. We understand the type of attacks. We understand the type of threats we are facing. Then we have solutions for them, and then understand how this can be made an area of practice. The objective is, after this session, if you are all interested, which I am pretty sure a number of you should be, and we would also plan to do away with the myth that this is something for the bigger cities. The ransomware attack can happen even in small places. This need for security is even in small places. So after that, we are going to follow up with a 3-day hands-on training course in cybersecurity, which is in the offing. So that is going to be the acid test where you will actually end up doing things. So friends, I sincerely hope that this session is of use to you. This session gives a lot of learning and slowly but surely opens a new avenue of practice in the form of cybersecurity. I would also like to state here, friends, that in this venture, I am shoulder to shoulder accompanied by my very able vice chairman. I call him the co-chairman of the committee, Dayanivas Sharma. He is somebody who in his office has adopted a lot of technology. Somebody who is passionate about technology. He is heading to other verticals of the institute, but his heart lies with Digital Accounting and Assurance Board, where he has been with me for the past 2 years. So I just take this opportunity to acknowledge his contribution and to wish him a very good afternoon. With this, back to you, Aniket.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Chairman, sir. And I think what a wonderful way for you to put it across. It is not that these opportunities are restricted to the bigger metros or the larger cities. In fact, friends who are active on social media would recollect there is a show on Netflix which talks about the credit card scams. And the name of the show is Jamtara, which is actually one of the smallest towns in the country. And I think that itself resonates with a lot of people who would have seen the show, that no, this is not a big city problem. This is in fact can originate and also happen in the smallest of the towns and villages of our country. A wonderful expression, Manuji, and I'm sure that members will get inspired by your words of how technology is changing practice. Technology is changing everything for chartered accountants and how we can be ahead of the curve. I would now request, in the words of the chairman himself, the wise chairman or the person who has technology at his heart, Dayanivas Sharma ji, to please give his address. Thank you.
Thank you, Aniket bhai. And Chairman sir, thank you very much for giving the lovable words which you have shared. Friends, today I would like to tell you one thing. I am the vice chairman of both the chairmen who are sitting there, and which is the Digital Accounting and Assurance Board. My chairman happens to be Mr. Manu Agarwal, and I am the vice chairman. And with regards to Financial Reporting Review Board, Aniket ji is the chairman, and I am the vice chairman. And fortunately, I am the chairman of Peer Review Board. So what a coincidence that we three are actually from a different boards, which talks about the future of this profession in different forms. Aniket, your thing goes with very simple on the financial reporting side. My thing goes with regularization of the financial reporting. And Manu Bhai is actually going to talk about the future of this profession, which is digital accounting and insurance, which is a very unique and a different set which is there. Undoubtedly, the speech by the chairman was very enlightening, and having two learned speakers with us makes whole lot of difference. But Aniket, I'll just start my words with where you ended. Jamtara is a small state, but India is a very big country. I would like to further extend that statement by saying one thing. In 2014 or 15, if I'm not wrong, the dream of digital India was being thought about, where 1,13,000 crores was being budgeted towards this particular project called Digital India. At that time, India was top, on the list of 150th position in the world. Yes, but today, from last 3 years, we continue to be topping the chart by being on number 1. The message is very simple, that if a place like Jamtara, where you're talking about the frauds which are happening on the credit card, on the other side, we are also talking about Paytm kind of, IPOs which are going to come. And most importantly, the lower and much lower middle class people or lower class people who started adopting technology to even generate their day-to-day revenues itself is a big message, where the transactions are hitting through a digital platform. We heard a concept called, cash, which is, currency, which was in form of cash, right? Second was with regards to plastic card, plastic money. Then we talked about digital money. And now we have digital currency, which has actually been continued to grow in a different style. And everything is connected with the digital platform. Wherever there is going to be money and money's worth, we need to remember one point is that place, our chartered accountant has to be there. Because whether it is to that count, to the process, to entire thing, when you draw the financial statement, what matters is the chartered accountant. When you talk about compliance of laws and procedures, what matters is chartered accountant. And today, when we are looking at multiple factors which are going in a different direction, it becomes very, very important that, I'll put it this way. What market needs, sell that. Rather, one more way I'll put it, don't blame the distractions, improve your focus. I think digitization is not going to distract us. I think it is going to give us a newer opportunity, newer ways of earning professional income. And I think the time has gone where we could learn in past and continue to execute all throughout our life. I know my father has been from 1973, they have been continuing to read the same law and procedures. But in the current scenario, every day we need to learn. Rather, we need to think about what is going to be there tomorrow. And much more is going to come. So the new learnings are going to come from the digital platform because a variety of transactions, because borders are not going to be limited again. But yes, what our chairman said, one thing was very clear, that friends, we need to understand, forget about implementing, the systems audit or the cybersecurity audits at the client's place. First, let us ensure that our offices are perfectly fine or not. Because, Aniket, you might be aware that a lot of clients have their, lot of chartered accountants have the client data on their system. These systems are connected to different lease lines. And how effective the protection of data is a big question mark. And we have heard certain instances and we have seen certain instances where the entire system was, cyber attacked, and they had to pay through their nose to open that system because a lot of client data was available in that. So what is happening is we are becoming the custodian of data on behalf of client, whether he wants it or not, or we want it or not. The tradition has been such that, we have been the custodian of the data in our systems, whether they return, whether the family wealth, whether the net worth certificate, whether anything which you talk about is there on the chartered accountant system. And it is very important that chartered accountants get connected. Today, we are all able to do work from home to a greater extent is only because of that. So the best way to move forward is primarily from ensuring how our systems can be compliant so that we can learn with our own learnings and then go and sell those thoughts to our clients and ensure that their systems are well protected. Furthermore, friends, today income tax or GST or MSME registrations, or when you talk about the oldest systems which are called the PF and ESI departments, Aniket, you are aware. Now the entire system has become online. So a lot of such challenges are going to come in times to come. I think we need to be prepared of how the things are going to move because all things are happening through system. And your client might also have an POS which is there, which is also liable to get attacked. And much more are there which we are going to discuss in this deliberation. But yes, and the intention today to this discussion, sir, thank you very much. From my day one, when I'm sitting next to your chair as a vice chairman, you have been always talking that, do something which is going to give benefit to our members to a large extent. I think this is a wiser thought which you have actually got, that our people should be in position to go and do it on their own and ensure that they are protecting themselves and their clients. With this, friends, I thank you all for giving a huge response by registration of close to 11,000 members. And I think close to 5 to 6,000 members are already attending it. I don't know the numbers, but should be attending it. And Aniket bhai, thank you very much for being always there with us to give your opening remarks and making it a good beginning. Over to you back. Thank you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dayeva Sharma sir, for sharing with us your thoughts, for very importantly laying out the vision and the purpose of this session. I think if I had to summarize what Dayabhai said in a quote, I could only say that do today what others won't. Do today what others won't. So tomorrow you can do what others can't. I think that is the sum and substance of what our Honorable Chairman and Vice Chairman have said, that today let's invest in certain areas, look into certain newer avenues, which our DAB under the chairmanship of Manuji and Vice Chairmanship of Dawai is bringing across to all of us. Let's focus on these areas. Let's try and change the thought process, change the narrative. And once you're able to do that, like I said, the host of opportunities lie in front of us. And thank you, Dayabai, for showing them to us. I would now introduce the first speaker for today's session. That is Sachin Dedia ji. Sachin Dedia ji is an independent cybercrime investigator and a certified ethical hacker by the EC Council of USA. He is also a certified international trainer in the field of cybersecurity, ethical hacking, cybercrime investigation, and digital forensics. Since many years, he is working as an independent cybercrime investigator and also as an IT security expert, the right person for the right topic, for various multinational companies, SMEs, government departments, corporates, and even individuals. So from top level MNCs, the individuals and proprietors, he has done it for everybody, including state police departments, governments, and crime inquiries. Since 2010, he has successfully conducted various seminars and workshops in schools, colleges, universities for our chartered accountants through the ICAI, and is one of the most popular speakers in Mumbai University for the refresher and orientation course in 2010. He was privileged to give the seminar in the Raj Bhavan, that is the governor's office. He has 9 years of experience in doing VAPT, that is vulnerability assessment and penetration testing, and web application and other modes of testing. He has successfully delivered over 500 seminars and workshops across India and enlightened more than 1 lakh participants. I think the reach, Sachin ji, you have has been 1 lakh, and today with this one seminar, I think you can increase that by 10% because we have 10,000, and I'm sure it is going to be extremely enriching and beneficial for all our participants. I hand it over to you, Sachin ji.
Sure. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Aniket ji, for the wonderful introduction. Thank you, Chairman, sir. Thank you, Vice Chairman, sir, for once again giving me the opportunity to conduct this session. And I hope I live up to the expectations. And so, as I say, I just began my session. Sir introduced me as an ethical hacker, right? And this remains one of the only professions in the entire world where we have to use the word ethical before we can say we are a hacker. Right? Have you ever come and seen anybody coming and telling you that I'm an ethical CA or an ethical doctor or ethical lawyer kind of thing? No. But it happens with people like us. Whenever I used to go to any marriage or function or event, some uncle, some auntie always used to come and ask, कि बेटा आप क्या काम करते हो? And in the prime days, I blindly I used to say it on the face itself, uncle मैं तो hacker हूँ. And then I used to see the reaction, he would be taking 1 or 2 steps backwards, would be keeping the phone inside the pocket. We never used to get his mobile number, not his visiting card and everything like that. See, this is I understand that this is the kind of impact that is going to be created when you say you're a cybersecurity expert or, like a hacker or kind of a thing. We will be remembered. I don't know for good or for bad, but I know that we will be remembered. And now, I'm also asking, what Chairman sir and Vice Chairman sir and Aniket ji were perfectly telling you. See, I'm just telling you an inside story, okay? We, all the hackers, all of you must have heard about Darknet, okay? Deep Web and Darknet, right? All come together at some point of time and we decide the targets. Okay? in the beginning of the year, we decide that kin ko attack karna hai, whom should we go and target, right? And this has been going on almost every year. Okay, so let me give you an example. Like in January of every year, hackers would come together and decide whom should we target throughout the entire year. I'm asking you a very simple question. If you were in the hacker's shoes, okay, and you have to decide the targets for the upcoming year, that these are the people, organizations, professionals that need to be targeted, would you put a chartered accountant or a proprietor firm or a partnership firm into the top 5 or top 10 category or not? I mean, just a food for thought, like imagine a group of hackers coming together, a whole bunch of hackers coming together and deciding the target, that should we target a CA, yes or no? I know you must be thinking, and you must be thinking that, okay, maybe not, okay, we have this data, we don't have this data, but to give you your progress rate, okay, I'll just share my screen. Okay, I hope you can share my screen. Yeah, you can see my screen. Okay, just to show you the progress rate in the year 2015, you were ranked at number 18. Okay, 2016, gradually the chartered accountants came into top 15. And when the GST began to came in the year 2017-18, you almost reached up to 11 points. But yes, given the year COVID year, and because of all the online things and digital, and we have seen a lot of chartered accountants now bringing their offices online, connecting from home to their offices through some open source VPNs and everything like that, you are finally ranked in the top 10, which means all I can say is, by the year 2020 and 2021, chartered accountants have managed to come into the top 10 list from the point of view of hackers, that yes, you have immense value that you might not know the amount of data that you will be having with you, right? So what I'm requesting here is, unfortunately or fortunately, I don't know, but you have come into the hit list. Okay, and it's high time, last like Aniket ji was saying, and that you need to, like, charity begins at home. I want everybody to like focus on their own security, because what Vice Chairman and Chairman sir was also saying, that nowadays you're holding the client's data. Okay, matlab apna data important hai, but you're also holding client's data, which is equally important. Like, I'm very sorry to inform you in this manner, but I think all of you must have heard about, I'm just showing you, Mobivix data got hacked, right? If you remember now, this was Mobivix data breach happened just like what I can say, maybe 1 or 2 months back. Okay, and we could literally see, well, I have managed to download the Mobivix data. Okay, and I've seen credit card details. I can show you Aadhaar cards. I can show you PAN cards also. Okay, just yesterday or a few days back, there was a Domino's pizza leak also that happened. That how many people, like there's a 13 TB of database that was linked, and we got access to the database, and we could also see, we put up a few phone numbers. Okay, and we can also see that that phone number has ordered a pizza for how many pizzas they have ordered within a year. We have also seen Air India database breach happening, right? All of you must have see, when I type Air India, now look at what is Google showing. It is showing Air India data breach, right? So actually it was not Air India that was breached. It was the organization that is handling all their payments and the tickets and everything like that. So SITA, they suffered a breach, as a result of which, of course, our data was also breached. And people could see when people were traveling and what all they were doing. I do not want to see, but I foresee in this way. I'm very sorry to inform, if a chartered accountant does not worry about his own security, somewhere down the line, a heading would come that a CS firm was breached, and they would be displaying the ITRs, the income tax returns, the GST filings, and every other details of majority of your clients. On the funny side of it, they say that they do not need to disclose the passwords of all the digital signature tokens that you have of all the clients, because I believe across India, the passwords for the digital tokens of the clients are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, if I'm not mistaken. Right? That is the funny side of it. But what I do intend to tell you here is we have to be cautious, and we have to remain. See, my thinking is very, very simple. In the next 5 years in India, I see robots will walk, drones will fly, and electric cars are going to come, which means technology is going to come up, and technology is going to come up in a very big manner itself. And we have to match steps with technology. If we do not match steps with technology, technology will come and throw us out. Right. So as a CA, as a chartered accountant, like what sir was saying, fintech technologies, financials combined with technology would really give you an edge over the HR. And for all of you, those who think that is it rocket science or is it too much technical? Answer is no. You can still do it. The added advantage that we have is auditing. Our mind is programmed to think from an auditor's point of view. We have been accustomed to do that. Now we have to take the knowledge of technology and use our experience of auditing and combine that together itself. Like I'm a commerce graduate, right? No IT background, but still, if you put focus onto it, then it might make things happen. But see, I'm always telling very simple thing. We have to do our own security. My thing is, दूसरों का घर मतलब before we go and do the security of others, पहले खुद का तो देख लो. Like even from a hacker's point of view, the number one rule of hacker is learn to protect yourself. पहले अपने आप को बचाओ. We are supposed to protect ourselves first. Then only we can go and attack. Like if I tell you, would you like to go and hack into somebody's Wi-Fi or do the security of somebody's Wi-Fi and let your own Wi-Fi remain exposed? No. So what would be the first step? Well, generally the first step would be to do our own security first and then worry about somebody else's security. As we said, charity begins at home, and I want all the chartered accountants to slowly do the security. Reason why I'm also telling you, in the last 2-3 years, lot of chartered accountants saw a lot of opportunities coming because of the GST, service tax change and came into GST kind of thing. And I'm telling you from my experience and from my background, for those chartered accountants, those who feel that they missed the bus of GST, they could have got a lot of earning opportunities. Well, our government is now going to come up with another opportunity known as DPA, that is known as Data Protection Act of India. This act will pretty soon be coming it up. Okay. Now, Data Protection Act of India, trust me, for all the chartered accountants, those who felt that GST was a real boon for our bread and butter, you will get even better opportunities or equivalent opportunities when this Personal Data Protection Act of India is going to come up. It's going to take its time, but when it comes up, it will give a lot of opportunity. Just giving you just a two-liner about this act. What this act says is, if anybody, this I'm honestly telling you, okay, either it will scare the chartered accountants, okay, or some or many of you will see a good opportunity. It's a dual stall, okay. Chartered accountants will be worried, and chartered accountants, those who are optimistic mind, will also see a lot of opportunities. What this act is going to do is, what it says is that, suppose, okay, if you are holding my data, like any entity or any organization is holding my data, and the data gets hacked or breached. Okay, like suppose you are holding my data and from your place or from your cloud or from your office, my data got breached, okay, and it went into the public, as a result of which it caused me some harm, okay. Well, basically, I lost something as a monetary wise or a defamation or not kind of, but I lost a goodwill or my reputation or my money. I can come and sue you. I'm going to repeat. What this act says is that if you are holding somebody's data and if the data gets breached or hacked, as a result of which it causes some harm, okay, to the person, okay, they can come and sue. Now, think it from two ways. You will think that you are holding client's data, which means, what I'm going to tell you right now, very honestly and very bluntly, you may or may not come into cybersecurity, okay, because this is like a trailer, what sir said, this is like a trailer, we can come for the whole film also. What I'm telling you on the face is, you may or may not do cybersecurity, but in the coming 2-3 years itself, some entity like ICAI or some government organization will make it mandatory that there should be a cybersecurity audit on the chartered accountants itself. I'm repeating, either through the act like a DPA or some act, or even the ICAI might be forced that they will have to do a cybersecurity audit of a CA firm. And I think all of you would be agreeing that yes, somewhere down the line, some audit would be required. Reason being, you're holding some client's data, and that's a financial data, right? And now if you look on the good side of it, if the audit is going to be made mandatory, for protecting the data, will it not be made mandatory on schools, colleges, lawyers, hospitals, stockbrokers? Well, anybody who is holding people's data, public's data, they might come under audit. And you as a chartered accountant, if you can showcase that you have done your firm's security and vice versa, you can use the same rules, you can use the same things on your client security also. Which means, you know what I'm telling you? If you really want to come into cybersecurity, catch hold of doctors, catch hold of lawyers, catch hold of sub-brokers, catch hold of the schools, colleges. Unke upar aage audit aayega. They will be coming under the purview of system audit in the future. And if you're doing the financial audit, you can also go and tell them that, yes, I can help you to do the, the system audit also. But for that, you need to secure yourself first. I hope this is clear. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly make you go through some, I'm just going to make you what you will say that what is there to do in security? What do we need to do security for? Right. I'm going to explain. Okay. First thing, very quickly, and I'm not going to go very technical also, but I'm just going to explain. Okay, all of you must be using a Gmail account, as in like a public email ID. When I say what is your email ID, generally people give the response ca@gmail.com, or maybe it would be their name their company name or something like that, or @Hotmail or @Yahoo. But generally it would be a ca@gmail.com. Now, what I'm going to show you is how do we secure our Gmail. Just the small steps. Okay. So now, if I go into my Gmail ID, what people say is that, how do I know if somebody is taking out my Gmail data or not? What you need to do, you need to do something called as two-step verification. Okay, you need to enable two-step verification. What do you mean by two-step verification? It means, you know what? Even if somebody logs into your Gmail ID, okay, like suppose if you give me a username and password, okay, we can play this game. I will give you my username and password of Gmail. You give me your username and password of Gmail. But the point here is, if I give you my username and password of my Gmail, even if you put the password at your place, it will send a code to me. It will send a 6-digit code on my mobile. And unless I share that code with you, you will not be able to log in. Which means I have actually ensured that even if my password gets leaked, nobody can come inside my email account. This is very easy to do. And I will share the PDFs, we'll share the security steps. So what I'm going to do is, I'll quickly go through it. I'll say manage your Google account, security, and you can see this two-step on, right? All you need to do is enable this two-step on, and it will send a code to your mobile. You put the code, which means now anytime in the future, if anybody does get access to your ID, you'll still be safe, right? Now, second most important thing, all of you, what you must have done is, you must have logged in via Gmail. See, now there are many websites which tell you that login via Gmail, login via Facebook, right? All of you must be doing that. Login via Facebook, login via Gmail on some third-party websites. There is a catch to that. Okay, what I need all of you to do, in case if you have done this, in case if you have logged in into some other websites using your Gmail IDs, what you need to do is, again, go into your Gmail ID over there. Okay, manage your Google account. That is the option. You will go into security. You will come down and you will see this over here, third-party apps with account access. Here, third-party apps with account access. So what basically I'm trying to tell you is that if you click on that option, Gmail tells you which third-party applications have taken access to your account data. So here you can see that Dropbox has got access to my Google contacts. That means I must have used Dropbox and log in via this Gmail ID of mine, as a result of which Dropbox got access to my Google contacts. What he can do, he can see and download my contacts. Fair enough. Truecaller, I must have registered on Truecaller using this Gmail ID, as a result of which Truecaller now got access to my contacts. He can see and download my contacts. Okay. WhatsApp Messenger has got access to my Google Drive. Basically, I have taken my WhatsApp backup on this Gmail ID, as a result of which WhatsApp has now got access to my Google Drive. Well, as long as they have only access to my contacts, okay, I'm okay with it. But none of the applications, I'm going to repeat, should have access to your entire email account. None of these accounts, none of these third-party apps should have access to your entire email account. Okay, here it should not be written over there has got access to your entire Gmail ID. No. And you will ask me, sir, do you know any app which takes our entire access? Yes, I can show you one app. I'm not using that app, but I'm going to show you that app. You must have heard about Cred app. Okay. Cred, pay your credit card bills and all the rewards. Well, if you register on Cred and if you give your Gmail ID, I would request if you can come and look into this option. Here you will see the option Cred has got access to your full Gmail account, to your Gmail ID, to your email IDs, which means they can read your emails also without even asking for a password, basically. This is what we need to do the security against. Now, if you see any unknown app taking access to your data, you can remove the access from over here. Basically, you can remove the access from over here. Okay. I hope these are the things, these are small things that we need to do even in cybersecurity. Like these are the things when I'm going, this is the same thing which I'm going to do when I'm going to any client's place also. We have a whole checklist and we just have to, technically small things that we have to do this over here. Now, the next best thing what I need all of you to focus on is, all of you must have heard about ransomware attacks. Everywhere, like people like us, every single 2-3 days, I get a call from somewhere across India asking me, yes, sir, I've been infected with ransomware. A malicious code that will encrypt all your data. So is there any solution for ransomware? Honestly speaking, there are various ways through which ransomware will enter into your system. So there is not a foolproof way to secure against ransomware. What we can do is, there is the only way to protect against ransomware is to have a good backup. I'm going to repeat again. All you need to do is have a good backup. Now, to protect against ransomware, I would request, see what happens is, if a ransomware comes inside your system, okay, it might, assuming the worst, what it will do is it will encrypt or it will take away all your data which is there on your network. Okay, so which means anything which is there on my network, they say like you're in your office and you have 5 computers, assume the worst that all your 5 computers would be infected. Close your eyes, mentally prepare yourself, कि मेरा server भी infect हो गया है, my cloud drive is also infected, and all my computers are also infected. Where will I give the data from, or where will I get the data from? So, solution for ransomware is you need to have an offline backup. What do you mean by offline backup? Anybody? Good old days, you take an external hard disk like this. You will take an external hard disk, and periodically, every 7 days, 15 days, 1 month, you will take the backup of your tele or of your computer, or also of your email IDs and your mobile, and store it up on an offline backup. What do you mean by offline backup? Backup which is not connected to the net, and store it up. Or if you really want to have a proper backup, you can always go for something called as an encrypted backup. What is ransomware? Ransomware does an encryption of your data. But if your data is already encrypted, then ransomware will not work on an encrypted data itself. Now, you will ask me, sir, are there some good softwares through which we can take backup, automated backup or encrypted backup? Well, there are plenty. So even if I just Google it up over there itself, the best backup softwares, save your files, and you will get a list of these things. Okay, so and free, some are paid, some are commercials, some are free, so as I said, you will get a tons of these softwares, and everybody has got good features. Okay, incremental backup, new backup, total backup recovery, encrypted backup, everything is there. You just will have to experiment. That's it. If you experiment in your own office and you can safeguard your data, trust me, you should be able to do the same for your other clients also. These are very, very small things. Start in your own office, and these are the things which are required by regulators. See, when I go and do the audit for SEBI or IRD, they say the same thing. Are you ensuring the backup is properly done, properly encrypted, backed up? Can you protect against ransomware? Yes. Can we prevent ransomware? Maybe no. But these are the things, okay? Second, one more tool which I would like to show you is by the name of NetCut. Okay. So, it's a very wonderful tool. I'll just show it on the internet only. This one. Yeah. So what does NetCut does? Well, NetCut will tell you how many devices are connected on your Wi-Fi. Like say all of you are in your home right now, or maybe in your offices, right? Can you tell me basically how many devices are connected, like how many devices are a part of your Wi-Fi right now, so that we can come to know if anybody else has become a part or not. Am I right? Well, this kind of softwares will help you to do that. Okay, so what this software will do, it will tell you how many devices are a part of your Wi-Fi, so that we can come to know whether any extra device is connected or not. And in case if any extra device is connected, we can go and disconnect them. Basically, you can use this software to have fun in your home today. Basically, see, when you run this software, I'm just going to tell you, it will tell you how many devices are connected to your Wi-Fi. Am I right? So you can come to know your wife's mobile, your children's mobile, your laptop, and everything like that. If you want to have a little bit of fun, what you can do is you can select your wife's mobile, and there is this icon of Wi-Fi which will be there. All you need to do is click on this Wi-Fi button over there on your wife's mobile over here. What is going to happen is, in the entire house, everyone's Wi-Fi will be working perfectly fine except on your wife's mobile. So on your wife's mobile, she will be seeing that the Wi-Fi is connected, icon will be shown, but she will not receive a single WhatsApp message, nor will she be able to download any, or nor will she be able to see any YouTube videos also. Just to have a little bit of fun. But as a disclaimer, you need to do this fun activity after your lunch or dinner is over. But yeah, a good way, because wherever I've gone to chartered accountant seminars and everywhere, people ask me, sir, how do I come to know whether my article is using my Wi-Fi or not? They say they don't have access to their passwords or something like that. Well, these are the ways. These are very, very small ways through which we can easily identify how many devices are connected and whether we can disconnect with them, how many devices are downloading what kind of data and all that kind of things. Okay. Now, for my last thing, very quickly, I'm going to cover a very important point. I'll be running short of time now. This is known as, what I'm going to now talk about is safeguarding your mobiles. Okay. We need to protect our mobiles because I'm very sure everything is on the phone only right now. Am I right? If I ask all of you, how many of you have started using mobile banking? Like put a mobile banking application on the mobile? Yes. How many of you are using Google Pay and Paytm or MobiKwik or anything like that? Yes. So if all of you have started using banking activities on the mobile, and the OTP is also going to come on the mobile. Am I right? So from a hacker's point of view, everybody is targeting the phone because now every activity is happening on the phone only, right? Your banking activities, your WhatsApp messages, your emails are configured on phone right now, your photos, your videos, personal activities, location, everything is on the phone itself, right? So what I'm now going to tell you is this is one of the spy applications which is very, very popular in the cybersecurity domain. Sorry, if this application gets installed inside your phone, it will completely be hidden. I repeat, it will completely be hidden. It will be running in the background, and then it will take out a lot of your data, which means suppose if I install this application in your phone, it will be running in the background. It will not be visible on the screen, but look at what all data I can get. I can listen to your phone call recording. I can listen to your environment recording. Phone call recording, which means what? Conversation. You can imagine that. Environment recording, which means conversation surrounding the phone also. After that, I can see your, your Facebook messages, your Snapchat, Hike, Instagram, WhatsApp messages, Hangout, QQ, Telegram, Tinder, email, Gmail, application screenshots, call logs, address book, SMS messages also I can read. What do you mean by SMS messages? It would mean OTP of the bank also, right? Geofencing, browser activity, network connections, application activity, installed applications, keylogger, photo, video, application activity, installed application, your mobile banking application activities, your keylogger, your photo, your video, your audio files, practically everything, right? And this application is going to remain hidden, and this is all the kind of data that this application will be taking it out. I'm very sorry to inform you, this application is widely used among hackers, criminals, and also for personal purposes. We have seen partners putting in another partner's phone, directors putting in another director's phone, bosses putting in the employees' phones, XYZ or something like that. But from a financial point of view, if majority of the banking frauds that are happening on the mobile is because of this application itself. Just to give you a small example. I would request if you can just read the heading. Man loses 1.5 lakh rupees after clicking on the IT refund message. Okay. So, he received an SMS regarding his income tax refund, very common way of infecting a mobile. He clicked on it. Then he got directed to a mobile application which got automatically downloaded. And then look at it. Look at the very next thing itself. He clicked on it. He got it. You can read this if you want. He suspected some foul play. He deleted the message as well as the app also. And the very next day, his account was debited. Now you will ask me, sir, how his account was debited? Well, because his mobile was hacked and the OTP of the mobile banking application was coming on the same phone which he was using. Right, I hope you're all understanding the point now. How do we find out if such an application is installed or not? My request is run some good antiviruses. We will be sharing all the details. Run some good antiviruses inside your phone. You need to have one antivirus inside your phone. Periodically scan your phone using some antivirus, and also look for the app permissions. Okay, in the sense every application is taking what kind of permissions. Okay, so what I would request is you need to find out what kind of permissions your applications have taken. You need to follow this step. You need to go into phone settings, apps, app permissions, and this is how you can come to know what kind of permissions they have taken. And you see any app which you have not downloaded, and if it is taking out a lot of permissions, well, then you need to go ahead and remove that particular app itself, basically. Okay, these are some small tricks or some small techniques, okay, which you can do. You can say steps which you can do to safeguard your own security. And once you are confident that you can do it, okay, you need to execute the same steps for your client security itself. Now, these are small steps for doing this. Of course, these are not the only steps. There are various other steps which you need to take. There are many. I've just shown you, demonstrated you, and these are all of you must have understood that. Trust me, all of you must have now realized that this is not too technical also. Okay, and this is your cup of tea, basically. So we can take things later on also, but yeah, these are the few of the steps that I would request you can start executing from your own office, from your own home. As say, do the cybersecurity first at your own office in your home, and then of course you can go ahead and do it because it is going to be mandated in the future. So like it or not, but yeah, we will have to work on to this particular thing. So I think I'm sorry I might have taken a little bit of more time, but I would like to once again thank the DAP committee, chairman, vice chairman, sir, for giving me this opportunity. And honestly speaking, trust me, we also interact with a lot of other communities outside India also. I've not seen one ICAI committee who is giving you so much of opportunities. Like if you want to do cybersecurity outside, you have to go to do some 2 or 3 different organizations. Then you have to do forensics, you go to another organization. You have to do audit, you go to third organization. Your ICAI, our ICAI is bringing all under one table. They are giving such good opportunities to all the members to take different qualifications under one stream itself, under one umbrella. So trust me, grab these opportunities, try these particular things out. It might be really, really useful for all of you to start as a different career also. So once again, thanking all of you for giving me this opportunity and patient hearing. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Sachinji, for the wonderful deliberation and more importantly, for the practical solution of how this can be implemented. I think a very good message that you have given across. We will have question and answers session later, but now before that, I would request the next faculty, Anand Jangirji, a passionate evangelist for tech-based disruption in audit and finance domain. Anandji is a professionally qualified chartered accountant and also a certified information system auditor. He is managing partner of AJA, an organization with focus in the area of forensic audits, IS audits, fraud analytics, and blockchain for internal audit function. He was part of the management team at Goldman Sachs, covering multiple audits across much geography and different functions in the organization. He has specialization in forex audit, DP audits, anti-money laundering, Basel 1 and 2, BCP, and operational risk. Prior to that, he was in ES Consulting Group at Infosys Technologies, Bangalore. So as you can see, a whole host of industry experience before becoming a IS auditor, a fraud analyst, and a blockchain consultant. He has been involved in enterprise risk management implementation and IT audits for many international projects at US, UK, Japan, China, etc. He's a visiting faculty at IIM Bangalore teaching IS Audit and Fraud Analytics. He's a speaker at the North America CACS and EuroCAX of ISACA, visiting faculty at ISACA ICAI and Wellington Institute of Management. Let's all give a big round of applause and welcome Anand Jangirji. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Over to you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. So, very good evening, everyone, and it's great to have all of you here, and thanks for the opportunity for that. So, I'm just trying to talk about, I think if you heard right now, Sachin, that gives a kind of a very interesting, perspective out there, that there is a lot of, problems are there in this area. And I hope you all understand wherever there are problems, there are solutions. And problems are always good, opportunities also. Because in every problem, you can see what are the key things which you can do. Now, the thought process on cybersecurity, which we talk about, is a little different when we come to talk about from IS audit. And here it is more of, consulting assignments and other things which are there. So I thought my next 20-25 minutes, I'll be talking about, maybe talk about what we call it as, what are the different opportunities, okay, for CAs in cybersecurity. Now that's important because there is a lot of things which have opened up. I have the NASHCOM website and seen the NASHCOM report which came in 2019, and they actually updated the status in 2021. Now, NASHCOM is saying that we have a shortage in India right now of 1 million cybersecurity professionals. Okay, and please understand, there are very few institutions which are having cybersecurity as I can count it on my one hand fingers, the number of institutions which are specialized only on one area of cybersecurity. There are not much out there. Now, how do we meet that demand? That itself is a big question. And if you have seen there was a very interesting survey which was published by Cisco in terms of the market size. And that's very interesting because they talk about that services market. I'm not talking about the product market because there are a lot of applications and all things. Services market wise, India is a kind of a $3 billion market, which is pretty huge actually, if you see. And that's the reason I am actually seeing, in my journey in this field, I'm seeing a lot of people. I'm seeing company secretaries doing BCP audits. We were actually in Oman and we found someone was doing audit, and I asked his qualification. He said, I'm a company secretary. Now, which basically means you have a base, qualification, but you can actually build upon that. It's not something which is rocket science. So, friends, with that, introduction, I thought I'll just jump into the presentation. So, to start with, this will be the agenda which I thought I will, share for you. We'll just start, a little bit of, I would say, put what we call it as the conceptual understanding out there on the concept of cybersecurity. What are the different types of cybersecurity? Because there are different school of thoughts on that. And, there is a kind of a saying, one of my mentors used to always say that in cybersecurity, it's something like, you will have minimum 2 school of thoughts. Like, for example, I don't know how many of you heard about one, point which we call it up in BCP, DRP, and, concept of that. Not just, it's basically a part of cybersecurity in many aspects. We say that the place where you have your DRP site, you should not put a board or anything. You should not put it should not identify that this place is a disaster recovery site, because then there are more chances of, some kind of attack happening onto that. But on the same side, there is other school of thought says that if you don't earmark the importance of the building, how would, if there is any disaster, how would, people find out that place? How can they reach on time? And, in the matter of, minutes are sometimes very important in that kind of situation. So you'll always find what we call it as the multiple school of thoughts in every way when we are handling, this part of cybersecurity, because it's an emerging area. And there are a lot of new practices. Now, there is a buzzword going on, zero trust and all things. So, it's actually will be keep coming because you need to reinvent things, but the fundamentals remain the same. I just thought I'll put up, because something which is very inspired by from COSO, there is a 3 lines of defense for cybersecurity professionals also. And that it becomes an area of, things. And why it is important and how can chartered accountant contribute? It's a very good point, as Our Sachinji said, charity begins at home. The first thing we should do is, if we start seeing the basic things which are there in terms of what we can do in our offices, in our organizations, and this become a more of an inspiration for others to, follow. And what I have seen as career path in cybersecurity, a lot of people want to make it a career out of that. And the question always get asked is, okay, so how do I start? Okay, how much time it will take? So there are a lot of questions like that. And those are the things we need to be, we should be very careful about. I can tell you something very interesting. I come from Infosys, and when I was there, the person who's to head the information security, okay, practice, there used to be two kind of thing. One was on cybersecurity, one on information security. So the person who used to head was a chartered accountant, and the way he used to dress and all the things, like shaved his head and all the thing. And the gentleman was very famous because he used to write codes for rootkits. And this guy, if you know rootkits, it's like very, very, interesting kind of malware. You require a machine level learning to be able to write those kind of codes. So he was very expert in that. He was basically a chartered accountant. So I would say it's all about the passion, what you bring it out to the team. It's not like it's going to be easy anyway. If you want to become a taxation also, you have to go for a very, very long, I would say, tapasya, or a kind of, you have to take your time. And here also you have to take your time in terms of. So that's the first thing, okay? Second, the meaning, okay? The meaning which we talk about is basically, whenever we talk about the cyber environment, there are different definitions, but basic, nomenclature what we use is anything which is to be, protection of anything which is internet connected system. It can be hardware, software, and there is a kind of a threats. And as Sachin was rightly telling, there's nothing which is secure on the system, right? I don't know whether it's, how many of you have heard about that? There is one event which happened, which is called as, I'm sure you've heard about the Black Hat in Vegas every year. And they do a competition out there, which was very interesting because around 2016, I attended one of the events. And they used to have a competition called Design the World's Most Secure Computer. Don't worry about the resources. Don't worry about the money or any part of that, how much money you require. Don't worry about that. And the guy who got the award in that year was a person who designed a kind of a system, which was like this, that you have a nuclear bunker where you put a nuclear bomb also, and nothing will happen. And level 7 of the nuclear bunker is known as the most secure level. And there you put a computer without internet connection. That was the world's most secure computer. Now, anything which gets connected to net, it's always known that it cannot, go for that. And that should be the thought process which goes into this. And also, we need to understand it from a perspective. Today, this is a threat everywhere, to individuals also, and when it is there, it is to enterprise also. And we as need to understand one very important thing. I always say is that there is a fundamental concept in accounting when we are doing our reviews, and that is called as going concern. Yeah, and in going concern, we always say that it is like the business will go into the foreseeable future. But there have been cases, a lot of cases, due to cybersecurity incidents, leaks, compromise. Organizations have lost the ability to do business because all the data is leaked, reputation loss, multiple kind of things which has happened. And because of that, what happens is we have come to a level right now where it is very tough to do that. And it becomes important that there are organizations which goes for a bankruptcy because of cyber leaks. There have been. So it's becomes important for us to see that how can we protect against that. And when I'm saying that, it's not, but I'm talking about at least reasonable assurance which is there. And reasonable assurance is very much given. And that is something which we have to understand and take it up. So this is what we basically call from the meaning of cybersecurity and why cybersecurity becomes important. Now, the importance, as I was telling you, is more from perspective of number of user, device, program, and any enterprises basically depend on that. Even one get compromised, everything goes for a toss. Like there's a national report which is very interesting. It says the number of cybersecurity incidents as they are growing. There's also growth in the spend on that. But there is also one more problem which has happened now in cybersecurity. If you've heard about this term, cybersecurity fatigue. If you keep on fighting a war all the time, 24/7, you get into a fatigue mode. It's enough. I just can't handle it. Now that is also, friends, happening. So why it is happening? There is a reason for that. Of late, businesses have realized that this war will keep on happening for a long time. So you have to have, a kind of build up your, defenses. Make sure you are in a better state. You know the things. Even one person in your organization, if there is a lack of awareness, because I have one opportunity which is very interesting on this one, where there is a lot of requirement that, there are people who knows to make awareness in the organizations also about cybersecurity, what is acceptable, what is not acceptable. One of the biggest risks we see in cybersecurity is called, basically employees, being social engineered by other people, because if they don't know the importance of all these points, there are chances like this can happen. Okay. And more and more organizations are becoming digital. Banks are becoming totally digital. We have digital banks now. You are having more and more business becoming digitally inclined. So as businesses are moving to that, the kind of risk which used to happen. You remember earlier the bank guys used to have one person with a gun standing outside all the time. That was a kind of a default thing. And it was like kind of a cost which you have to, pay with. Now, similarly, today, as they are moving on to more and more banking happening online, there has to be requirement to have more security and other features built up around that. So that is another thing. And the pace of technological changes which is happening is becoming a cyber criminal's greatest ally. I'm again telling you, I'm here, Sachinji is there, everyone who is there right now. Some point of time or other, knowingly or unknowingly, we have already been duped, being, I'm into cybersecurity and all things. Despite that, sometime back, someone just made a, try to basically, the same Jamtara style, trying to send the OTP and all thing, and they were trying to do it. But yeah, we are aware, so we just couldn't let it out. But it is just a matter of time whether it's come and get effective. So these are kind of things which are happening. And at enterprise level also, as ransomware attacks are becoming more and more prevalent, I don't know how many of you have heard about there is now cybersecurity insurance against ransomware. So you say, okay, I can't do anything about that. Let me take the insurance. So at least anything happens, I can actually get the Bitcoins from the insurance money and pay to the hacker. So that's the kind of things which is now actually people have realized and they're working on. If you see the types of cybersecurity, I just try to give a kind of a basic high level areas of understanding. So it's security, which is I don't know if you've heard about this term called VAPT. Vulnerability assessment and penetration testing, which happens at both application level and the network security level. Now, let's say, for example, all of you are using an application, and Sachin just showed you that there are some applications which are capturing a lot of data about you. But imagine, are you using any of this, payment banks, app in your mobile, and those mobile, you would have given some kind of authentication mechanism, some password or something like that. Now, there have been many cases where this password was saved in the code only in a clear text format. Clear text format basically means, it was basically kept in a format which is like any, if they are able to go to the file roots and other thing, they can see the file system. They were able to easily, what we call it as, find out what the password is. Now, it is very important that it has to be saved in a clear, instead of clear text, it should be saved in an encrypted format. Now, these are the kind of finding of vulnerabilities and other things which can be done on application level. Yeah, you require to have a good programming language knowledge, but there are also basic fundamentals which are there of what are the things which should be there in an application. So I'm not saying that you have to see it from a perspective of, oh, do I need to learn programming? But you should know that, okay, can I check it up that whether these things are, out there, configured and all things, and basic things has been built into that. And those things are becoming more and more important as we see the new kind of licenses given by RBI to small banks, cooperative banks, change of payment banks and all the things. So this is one area which is very interesting. Second, we have network security. Networks are the highways of the internet working, and your internal network can be compromised. There will be malware, there can be targeted attack. We have a lot of things like that happening. And to understand the security, it's basically knowing about the fundamentals of a firewall, how it works, what are the ideas things goes into that, how do they operate, and all that kind of thing. So those things are coming into the network security. The third one, which is very, very interesting, is the operational security, what we call it as the process and the decision for protecting the thing. This is basically more of the governance model on top of that. So how do we take care of the operational security? How we are trying to have network access provided people? Are the organization using BYOD and all things? So this area deals with that. Then there is an overarching thing which we try to talk about from information security perspective. It's safeguarding the data integrity and privacy. Now, guys, please understand one thing. Sometimes people get confused between IS audit and cybersecurity. IS audit is an assurance functions. There I'm actually providing an assurance thing. Here, it is more of a consulting assignment or trying to basically help the client build up the capabilities or making them ready for that. So you're if you've seen the Karate Kid movie or the new Karate Kid, so you'll be playing more of the role of someone who's supporting the main hero. He's going to do a fight, but you are the person who's training them and getting them up. So that is very, very important. End user education, especially awareness about people, like organization corporates wants to have their people aware about that. What are the things how should engineering attack happen? What are the key things they should know? And last but not least, disaster recovery in business. It's a huge area in itself, guys. You just start reading about resiliency. We call it the word as resiliency. It's itself is a huge area. So these are the different types of, we can say cybersecurity. But if you see the 3 lines of defense, I'm just giving a little different perspective, friends, out here. The 3 line of defense, when we are, talking about from a cybersecurity professionals, basically there is, a COSO framework which was there, and then COVID also taken. There are like a lot of integrations of that which is there. Net, I would say this is basically the guys who are in the helm of affair. There are 3 levels of, I would say, cybersecurity. You can actually put it up. So first part is the line manager who are doing the day-to-day task. And they are, they want to know how the business as usual is working. What is the process which is there? They will be basically doing the implementation of all the work, the policies, whatever has been put. Make sure there is a penetration testing done, because it's amazing that, it's something where you pay to the people to break into your network. So just to know how secure your network is and how it is working. So that's the first line of defense, guys. And, the second line of defense we talk about is basically the risk monitoring or the oversight team, which is more of, we are actually looking at it from a perspective of the second line, because they will be taking care of whatever the first line of defense guys are doing. Is it all, working in line with that? It has the basic oversight over the, whole process of risk management has been taken care of. So these are the professionals which are also called the business control or cyber control guys. These are the guys who basically look into that on a daily basis, see how it is to be, built and managed and take that forward. Then we have the third line, which is more of an audit function. And it can be basically internal and external audit. And that is also one of the kind of thing which is more of an assurance function. I want you to focus on the first or second line of defense, which is because it's very important. It's a risk oversight. It is actually trying to build up the capabilities. It is trying to ensure how we, have to work on this different perspective altogether in terms of dealing with that. So friends, this is all how we, basically work in terms of that. Now, coming to the point, I have another 10 minutes. Yeah, I think 7 minutes, sorry. How can chartered accountant contribute to cybersecurity? Now, basically, cybersecurity is at 2 levels, at the strategy level as well as the implementation level. Now, slowly, we are seeing one very interesting trend. I don't know how many of you have noticed this or not, but I read some time back that in ITC, the CFO is also the CIO, Chief Information Officer. And it has kind of become a trend now in many of the organizations where There is another, CXO level role called CISO, so which is Chief Information Security Officer. But there is a cross happening between CFO and CIO role being played by the same persons, okay, and happening in many organizations. Now, the first part which is there is we have to be involved in what we call it is the strategy, in terms of what we call it is what is going to be our cybersecurity or strategy, how we are going to deal with that, both pre-event and post-event. There is a pre-event which is like before the event happened, how do you plan for that? Post-event, something, some incident happened, and how do you basically deal with that? Now, as in many organizations, there are also requirements, that CFOs has to look into many of the points which are there. There are roles of CISO being reporting not just to CEO, it's also getting reported to CFO, because a lot of areas they are going to be intertangled out there. So that is one of the area where chartered accountants has a great role to play, where you act as, okay, I don't want to do the down implementation, but I see the whole overall strategy, how it is going to work, and what is the value add we can bring to the team. Okay. Second is basically from the part of doing the work. Okay. That's something which we call it as, bridging the, gap between the skill set which is required in IT, because you have a functional knowledge of all the things, as well as once we get the other side of things, and Sir talked about 3 to 5 days of any certification which help you to understand different perspective which is there, and you can contribute more on that thing. So that becomes another kind of thing. Third, we have this risk management strategies, managing the roles, seeing wherever there can be a financial impact of that. Have you noticed that every time there is a kind of a virus attack or anything, they will say the cost of this virus attack was $3 million, $5 million. How do they calculation? That's a very interesting thing. Because of the virus attack, if your people are not able to work, so you actually take calculation of the cost of the salary for that much time, the hours which they have not been able to work, as well as the cost of, getting back to the normal and other things which used to be there. And as we know the compliances, I'm sure if you just do a search, penalty for cyber security, just search on Google, so many companies have paid so much of money. And in fact, if you just check out RBI also, RBI collected something around 6 crore rupees in penalty on this, cyber security incident on the banks. So there are a lot of requirement which is there. And now organizations have realized that instead of being post facto spending a lot of money, it is always better we can actually do something at the beginning of the thing, so that, it adds value in terms of what we are looking for and take care of that. So the career path is something in this line which you can see on your screen, friends. Basically, I would say, focusing on starting from data governance and classifications reviews, which is like setting up the whole process. There is something in social media risk, which is another area which is emerging, but a little different area than just regular social media risk, which is there. It's basically about what people are talking about. There are many times what happens is fake things. You're seeing that this is another kind of cybersecurity happening, where in your company name someone else will make a website, and they will actually do recruitment, they will do other things, all the things on the web, they will try to do it up, and that becomes a big nightmare for the organization, because later there are legal cases and all things. We have cybersecurity consulting, we have cybersecurity trainers. That is another things. There are a lot of interesting requirement in the thing of computer forensic, and as Sachinji was telling you, it's all different organizations, not just under one umbrella, but there are a lot of things which we do, and also there are certifications which are there which we can actually look into. So the data governance part and classification audit is more from a perspective of seeing the whole of the organization, and what are the kind of checks and balances we require, how do we guide the whole organization around the privacy policies, the areas, the compliance risk, all of the things from a cybersecurity perspective, we can actually look into that. Right? Recently we have become a little indifferent to that, which is not a good thing. Domino's has a leak. There was all the user IDs and all the things got exposed and no one actually made a hue and cry out of that. And all of us actually would have some point of time or other would have actually bought one of the pizza from that. Now there are so slowly organizations are seeing the backlash on that. If this thing continue for a long, we will see a lot of people taking it to hand that there can be a case filed against people on terms of not being able to do a proper data governance. I told you, cybersecurity consulting is a great area where you basically define on the areas like sensitive, information, how to protect it, what are the risks which can be there to your data, and trying to manage it up there. Also, there are requirement on integration with the IT projects which are there. What are, like, for example, now in every organization there are some baselining standard. They will say that all our applications which are built should have this parameters which are there. Are they being built? Can we support on that? All that becomes another interesting areas of building it up there. Okay, so chartered accountant can actually work it out. Computer forensic analysis is a great area. And I'm telling you, we have seen it kind of regularly. In computer forensic or digital forensic, chartered accountant plays a very interesting role because you understand business also. Okay, if the fraud has happened, what is the kind of thing they want to know it. It is very easily to get into from information from mobile. Sachin is a good example. He specializes in that area also. And digital forensic part is another great area as a kind of a offering which can be done. Okay, I would say this is something on the cybersecurity trainer. This is like training on data leak prevention, DLP we call it up. The different kind of policy procedures and all things, and organizations always look into that. There are a lot of certifications. A lot of people ask me, okay, how do we start for that? There are a lot of certification. We have ICAI DISA. ICAI has also a certificate course on that for 3 days, which is a very good specialty course. There are CSP, PCI DSS, multiple areas where we can actually follow on that. So friends, just to summarize, what I was trying to bring out here is when we are, focusing on cybersecurity, you have to see this in a holistic manner, in a bigger picture, which is there, because it's a great area. A lot of, requirement is there, but yes, you have to build up your technical skill sets also. A little bit of investment we have to do with time and effort to be able to go through it. And NPTEL, there is one very nice course on cybersecurity, which is like, if I'm not wrong, something around 23 days. There are a lot of things which is information is available. Our institute course is there, which is amazing course of 3 days. So this gives a kind of the people a kind of focused approach on terms of building up their career. So thank you very much, friends. Thanks for the opportunity. Thank you, sir. Over back to you.
Thank you, Anandji. It was a wonderful presentation. Basically, both you and Sachin helped us understand the nitty-gritties of cybersecurity, the threats which we face, and you're very right. This Domino's hack which just happened, people may say, or the customers may at times say, "Ki mera kya nuksan hua? What do I lose? It's just my pizza history which is gone." But what they don't realize is probably their mobile number, their email accounts, their personal information, and plus what I would also say, probably their password which they have built for entering the Domino's website. And as we all have a habit, since we cannot remember multiple passwords, we tend to use a single password for every activity. So if that password is compromised, it's probably not only the Domino's website which we used to log in. We used to log in from that password to n number of websites. So that is also a big threat. So where the data leak is dangerous, and who else can it give advantage to? The competitors may have a profile, may approach those customers. So there are n number of uses of that data hack which has happened. Or I would say data is so important that it has multiple uses. So to protect it, this cybersecurity is very, very important. Well, you have explained it, but we will not let you off so easily, and just by giving just a general description of how to go about it. Me and Daya Bhai would be asking you various questions. First, we would try to take it from our side, and then we have a lot of viewer questions also coming in. So the first question which I would like to ask you is, well, you've dwelled upon the importance of cybersecurity, you've dwelled upon the need. My question is, in simple terms, how to start practice of cybersecurity from scratch? Assuming that I am a chartered accountant who's qualified, who knows a little about computers, not a great deal, who understands everything, who understands the importance of data, who's probably once read the Data Protection Act also. So how should he start this cybersecurity from the beginning?
Sachin, why you want to speak first? Then
I'll have both of your views.
Sir, go ahead.
Okay, so thanks, sir. I think, sir, that is a very good question, and I also hear these questions many times. That how do we start on the thing? So I would say the best option is to take baby steps. As you know, there are a lot of requirement of cybersecurity audit or review or setup in organizations which are there, which we think they may not require. The most interesting one I came across are requirement in small organizations. You know, people think small organizations don't require cybersecurity. It's a misnomer. Even every organization, I would say, if that organization has more than 5 machines, we should go and talk to them. You know, I would say, when I should say, we can help you, you know, with better controls, policy making, setups, and all the things, which will actually be kind of the first part. That is cybersecurity governance. We should actually focus on that area, because that is going to be a easy entry for us. But on the same side, I would also request that, you know, we should try to target, you know, a lot of this already existing IT firms, IT organizations, or regular organizations which are having, you know, kind of a presence in, you know, maybe 15, 20 machines or anything as such. Go to them and say, hey, you know, we can actually help you with your cybersecurity setup, and do that. Now, why I say this is going to be a good approach, there are a lot of tools, like as, you know, Sachin showed it, like a simple thing I'll tell you. There is a tool from Microsoft called Microsoft Baseline Security Analyzer. Now, MBSA is a tool which is there from a long, long time. Even now, the new version doesn't come out of that. Now, MBSA is a tool which you have to just run in a network to basically assess and know what are the things which is happening in the network. Now, that itself is a kind of a small, you know, start which can be done. Apart from that, I would say we have to read about some of the things. For the starting, it may be easy, but later, when you want to take up the bigger assignments and all things, a good sound knowledge about, you know, concepts of networks, concept of how, you know, application architecture works. All those things will be very important. And I'm telling you, there's not like rocket science. Like firewall reviews is a very interesting work. Firewall audits, we call it, or firewall setup. So before you can do an audit, you need to set it up, and that can be a kind of a good thing. And I personally know one very interesting firm in Mysore. They are based out of Mysore, and what they do is very interesting. They do only, you know, what we call as the data governance part for clients in multiple parts. Remotely, they do it. So I would say starting it can be a kind of a base step which you can do that. But we have to keep on building the capabilities. I would say, you know, it's like never-ending things. You know, in IT, things becomes obsolete very fast. So it is like learning, relearning, and that's my submission.
Okay, thank you, Anandji. Just one small question I would like to add. This tool of Microsoft, which you spoke about, NBSA, I think. Just could you give a few examples of what type of reports does it come up with? What deficiencies in the network does it throw up?
So MBSA, basically, it's an endpoint, you know, thing. It will give you, like, in your machines and other things, all the which are running Microsoft, is it having, you know, passwords are strong or not? When was the last time it was done? Is the patch has been done? Patch management is very much there. How many patches are missing in your machines or your network? So all that kind of basic report, it will just give you in one shot. Like, it's a pretty good. And if you have Microsoft Visio, which is one of the connectors, you can actually put connection. It will basically say how many machines are there in the network. So we have, sometimes we call it rogue device. So, you know, there are some devices which are, you know, connected to your network, which is not supposed to be in the network. So we'll device and, you know, take that forward. So MBSA is a very old tool, but very interesting, powerful tool even today.
Thank you. And Sachin, would you also like to add something on this, of how to start and what are the first baby steps which we should be taking?
Sir, I would like to say, like, apart from adding to sir's inputs, sir, they can start with learning. Like you said, like this could be their first step only. Like, this was a trailer. They started with this first step. Then they can come for the film. basically. So I think that learning is the first way, taking some course, taking some professional help which is available through the institute, okay, or anywhere else. Because I always feel, sir, if you say you're certified, then people will not question your knowledge. Basically, it's like you go to a client and you say you have an X thing, then client will say, isko aata hai. Basically, that is the first entry level to get it with the client. Once that thing is done, once you have once you have the learnings with you, I would say always experiment in your own home. Okay, start with how many devices are there in your network, like sir was saying, very beautiful example of that software. Then figure out the backup parts, then figure out the, all the other securities. Once this is done, I started going to the client and then saying, sir, आपके network में और भी कोई लोग है, कैसे पता करोगे? Just like we are doing a financial discussion and we can start that way, that how do you come to know anybody else is done? And then, sir, most importantly, I always say necessity, compliance. We should find out how many people need system audits. How many of my existing clients would need system audit? Like say NSE is asking for brokers to do, SEBI is asking for sub-brokers to do, IRDA is asking maybe some insurance people, small agents, very small. So if I can find out where the necessity lies, okay, but apart from the necessity, of course, when I go to the client should also feel that I'm capable enough to do it, basically. And I've done it. I'm speaking from my own personal experience. So I would say, sir, start learning, start attending these trailers, these films, get some certifications under your name, and then do it on your own. And then, sir, approach the people, those who will feel the need. Because, sir, again, in India, security is like not on everybody's radar. Like, it is like the last thing that they will worry about when it's like, like this, like the deadlines, and all of the chartered accountants would be aware that the data would come only when the deadline comes. Similar in terms of security is only when we talk about ransomware attacks, only when we tell them that, look, somebody is going to take out your data, then only client will worry, data jayega, like that way.
Sachin, okay, I got it. And basically, I think the views of both of you are similar. But one question which automatically comes out of what you've just said is, you said take certifications. I totally agree with this, that certification shows your credibility or your expertise in doing that particular work. But now the next obvious question is, where do you get those certifications from? Are there any certifying bodies? Are there any certificates which are available? What is the eligibility criteria for going into that certification, if any? Yes, as per what you've said is one, I accept that ICAI is the Digital Accounting and Assurance Board of ICAI is very shortly going to launch the first refresher course on cybersecurity, which would be a form of certification. But apart from this, is there any certification available, and what is the eligibility criteria?
So there are many certifications in the market. I would say some people do CISM, Certified Information Security Manager. Some people do CISSP. But I would say, because I'm a CISM myself and I've done the certification, this certification will give you a basic fundamentals. You have to build up on top of that. Now, I would, as Sachin rightly said, but when we go with the certification, or say, let's say I've done a certificate course from institute, I have this thing that gives a value add that, okay, baseline is there. But I would not say it will be enough. You have to read a little bit more.
I agree. Just because what Sachin also said is, it gives you the entry point, or it gives you that authenticity.
Foot on the door. Foot in the door.
So, but and I get your point that it is not an essential thing to be done. But what I was more interested in, you said you gave 2 certificates. Sachin, any input there? What you would prefer as a certificate?
Sir, what I believe is, sir, I always look for what regulators are going to demand the certificate. Like say, if there is SEBI, there is RBI, there is NSE, or there is IRDA. Okay, they come out with cybersecurity audits circulars, and then at the very bottom they write, this is to be certified by, or who is going to be the security auditor. So I simply go and look at those qualifications. So example is, BSA is qualified. Okay, for NSE audits, BSA is qualified. IRDA is saying BSA is qualified. Then they say, like sir is saying, CISM is qualified. CISA is qualified. So sir, I will always wait for the governing bodies. Okay, they say, ye karo. So as a result, sir, I'm still holding myself, let's say for cloud. I do not know the governing bodies. They have not told who can do cloud security. So I'm just waiting. I'll just wait. If the moment they say AWS kar sakta hai, CCSP kar sakta hai, CSP, I don't know. name any X certificate under the regulator's notice, I'll do that.
Okay, very good strategy, I think, that any certificate. And as of now, do you have any idea, is there any entry qualification or any basic requirement for doing these certifications, or anybody can do it?
I think most of them, anybody can do, sir. I know for CSP and other thing, it's like you have to do your self-study and anyone can do it. It's not nothing like that.
So basically what I gather up to now is that you just have to start it. You have to start it in a small manner, look for these 5, 6, 7, 8 things and a few tools which you've already spoken about. Second, get a few certifications to add to your credibility. That is one of the easy ways to start. Okay. Vice Chairman, sir, yes, you're welcome.
Thank you, Chairman, sir. I think, sir, one thing, there is no doubt the certification need to be done and there might be multiple programs, right, Anand and Sachin. So can we do from DAB, Chairman, sir, what are the first 5 steps that need to be done? If Anand and Sachin can give us first step, second step, because it's a huge ocean, whereas we want a step-by-step approach. Why I am telling you this is, primarily the most important partner, forget about the large cities like Mumbai, Delhi, Calcutta, Hyderabad, Bangalore, whatever. In tier 2 cities, it is little more difficult because here we get some other person to communicate. Because when you want to do certain thing in the tier 2, tier 3, tier 1 city to approach. So what is the first step, second step, third step that we need to do? One is that. And second thing is, where are all the opportunities, right, which can actually be tapped in a very simple manner. You talked about it, this can be done and all. But see, there are some areas, like you said, 5 systems if I have, it is subjected to opportunity for going and testing certain things, right? So certain things, are we going to cover, Chairman, sir, in our course with regards to what are these first 5 steps they need to do, which are those courses they need to do if they are doing externally, because it's the first time we will be doing for our members.
Thereby, I think in the first course, which we are in the process of designing, we are taking care of all these things, and it would be something as a first from ICAI, where both Anandji and Sachin are actively involved, and they'll be taking care of those steps. So we will try to give each and every member a step-by-step account of what he should do, what are the tools, because this seminar is probably a very brief sort of seminar, and we cannot display all the tools and everything to so many people, so it will be a different thing. But as for your second part of the question, I think Anandji and Sachinji would try to tell how to go about it in the tier 2, tier 3 cities and what to do.
Okay, I think I'll start and then you can add it up. So, sir, I think tier 2 and tier 3 city, I don't know if you remember, I mentioned about one of those there in Mysore, and they are doing something very amazing in this one. On the governance side, they actually focus themselves on the privacy and all things. I would say there is a lot of opportunity opening up in the tier 2, tier 3 cities, especially what is happening is as businesses are becoming more and more digital. That is one area which is a kind of opportunity there. Second, which I see is in most of the tier 2, tier 3 cities, we have cooperative banks. I'm just telling you a starting point. It's something which can be actually tapped out there. And that can be a kind of a very easy way of dealing with that, because they have a requirement. NABARD has a very interesting requirement on cybersecurity. And recently they have updated that also. So they have actually said that our audit is one part that is different. We want a cybersecurity report also, which is to be done of how you're doing it. And similarly, what is happening is every organization in tier 2, tier 3 city, which will aspire to become big, they would actually require to have. This is one part of the thing. The second thing which I'm seeing, I don't know, this is a kind of a new trend I'm seeing nowadays, especially, I don't know if you have seen this sites like freelancer.com, fiverr.com and all the things. There are a lot of people who are giving services on policy creations and all the things. Like, okay, you give us this information, we will do that. And that is actually becoming a very interesting thing. I personally know someone who have a billing of more than around $10,000 per month only on Fiverr, which is one of the freelancing sites which is there. So there are requirements where abroad also people want this kind of thing. See, the shortage of cybersecurity professionals is not just in India; it's actually worldwide. And NASHCOM report, if you see it, it is actually trying to tell that this is going to be a kind of a future requirement. And one more thing which I'm seeing nowadays, and this is a very interesting thing, I just saw it now. Just like we have part-time CFO, there is a new requirement of part-time CISO. So they don't want, small organization don't want full-time guys to be managing it up, but they have compliance requirements. Like, for example, there is one company which is a startup here, and they want to get themselves, doing something for RBI. They have to get the cybersecurity basic fundamentals to be there. They are not capable enough. They will come to us and all things. They say, "Can you please help us with that?" So these three things are what I see as a very good opportunity. But it will take, you have to build up your thing, because the guy I'm talking about, who is actually on freelancer.com having a profile and having a 10,000, he is doing it for last 3 years now. So he has come here after a long time where he has built up his capabilities as well as clienteles and all the things which can be done.
I heard that CII GECO, in collaboration with Tata, are doing some 3 days cybersecurity workshop.
Sorry, Devai, I couldn't hear you. What is it?
CII GECO, in association with Tata, they are doing a 3-day workshop cybersecurity.
Oh yeah, I think there are a lot of bodies which are there. Like under NASHCOM, there is a body called DSCI, Data Security Council of India, which is basically a NASHCOM body, and SCII and a lot of organizations are doing it because there is a kind of requirement out there. So cybersecurity side, you are seeing a lot of interesting thing which is happening. In fact, I'm not sure how many of you heard about two acts which are there. One is in Middle East called NESA, and one is there in Singapore, which is called CSA, Cybersecurity Act. You should read the requirement of this. That itself is like a good opportunity for anyone who is actually looking for going overseas and trying to work it out. There are enough, I would say, opportunity on this area.
Even Anand, Manu sir, Chairman sir, even sir, one more point. Example, if they do this cybersecurity course or understanding, there are mid-sized firms or might be large-sized firms. Like example, let us take Anand or Sachin, for that matter, who are doing a cybersecurity work. So they can align themselves with them also to get, encouraged, to get motivated, to ensure that, they get little hands-on experience also. But that first move has to be done by the members from all the tier 2, tier 3 cities to get aligned, because you can create a good battalion in it.
Yes, agreed. And I think according to what we've discussed so far, one or two things. A, there is a huge dearth or a huge requirement of cybersecurity professionals, which is here currently or I may say set to grow. That is number one. Number two, we at the institute are a body who would be taking up this in an organized and in a proper manner and trying to educate our members. Number three, there is no exactly governing body right now who is involved in this activity or conducting it in an organized manner. There are various courses available in the market, various certifications. Some organizations, some government body recognizes A, some recognizes B, and some recognizes C. But fortunately, what is happening is that a lot of government organizations are recognizing the DISA, which is conducted by the Institute of Chartered Accountants. So that is one step where we are already. The next step is we have to learn through reading, through attending various seminars, or doing it practically. That is the opportunity. That is the threat also, because you have to work hard. But the opportunity is that Digital Accounting and Assurance Board is there. We have great faculty, and we are trying to take it up in a manner that chartered accountants in future become one of the main constituents, one of the main people who are going to do cybersecurity audit. We are very conversant, very happy whenever we hear the word audit, because we assume that this is something which is in the exclusive domain of chartered accountants. So that is one thing which we should try and inculcate, try and see that it happens. And as very rightly pointed out, networking, which is something which is good for chartered accountants, is something which will play an important role here also. So this is what I have understood up till now, and now taking it a bit further. The next question which I would like to ask our experts is, what are the challenges which you foresee when we try to venture out in this field? What are the major threats or challenges which you foresee?
Sachin bhai, you start and then I'll add.
Sir, few of the major challenges that I would say is this kind of domain would require continuous updation. Basically, continuous updation of knowledge, continuous updation of technology, because what we foresee is maybe robots will walk, drones will fly, electric cars will come. Now, if a robot is going to come, I need to know like some final aspects of how to go about doing that. The drone or maybe something else, like the Data Protection Act of India is going to come. It is relatively new, even for people like us, those are only working on the technology controls. And then suddenly comes this data, and then we never got data. Oh, so we have to now go to every part where the data is going to flow. Like, sir, what I foresee is one of the few is adoption of technology. Generally, as a CA, it will be a little bit difficult to change their mindset from coming from finance into this kind of technology. And then we have to say, bhai, isko to aapko every day update karna padega. Like every few months, you'll have to keep on, like you're doing the CPE kind of thing, sir. Like we'll have to start a separate CPE only for technology updates itself. So that tomorrow, if a new word comes or a new technology comes, they should be remaining, that, yeah, at least I can go to the client and then say, I've heard about it, but I need some time. I'll come back to it. Like it's not, like this kind of a thing. So I say that even for people like us, those who are in the industry, sometimes we feel that what is this cloud technology which is coming up? So we have to remain, like updated with what are the new trends, what new things are coming. Like 5 years back, nobody must have heard more about ransomware. Now it's an in thing, right? So this data breach is what Sir was rightly saying. Now they are indifferent. One more breach happened. Air India, nobody is bothered. Domino's, nobody is bothered, right? So that way, again, sir, we have to be. What I feel is this kind of domain will require continuous updation.
Yes, just to add to what Sir rightly said, Sujin sir, this is the area which you have to update yourself a lot. I would say, one thing which we have to know is we have to have a little different mindset. Sometimes we have a mindset that, okay, this is done. I know this much. It's actually kind of a misnomer. I learned most of the time from our team member, because they know more about that stuff than me. And I have to ask them this thing. And we have to have a mindset of continuous learning, as Sachin bhai rightly said. And more than that, we have to have a little technical bent of mind. Sometimes people may think, I'll just give you an example, and Sachin bhai may agree. If I'm doing a cybersecurity review of a data center, I may have to check even electrical connections, how they're coming, what are the path which is being taken, and all that thing. I cannot say, no, I'm a CA, I can't do this. We have to know everything. We are ultimately fundamentals. Cybersecurity is everything get affected. Network, if there is no electricity, the network is going to affect. If air conditioning goes down, there are going to be other issues. There are multiple things we have to keep in mind. And it's a cognitive science, which is multiple things are coming together. So that part has to be worked out. And a little bit of, once we start going around with people and content on this, I think people will be able to appreciate these things, why it becomes important. And that's something which we should be aware of.
Yes, Anand bhai, and fortunately, I would say that this continuous knowledge updation, which you and Sachin both have talked about, is something which is, I would say, one of the great assets of this profession. Even in income tax, or say the latest law in form of GST, you have to constantly update yourself. If you do not update yourself, I think within a month, a host of provisions get changed. So this is something like that. And since we as chartered accountants are accustomed to reading, many of us, I will not say all of us, but many of us are accustomed of reading, of updating themselves. This should not be such a big challenge. Yes, you're correct. The inclination has to be there. The inner zeal has to be there. And one thing which I would like to suggest is, as the Vice Chairman said, if we could network with somebody, we could have that technical support also, maybe on a case-to-case basis, on an assignment-to-assignment basis. We will, in the initial phases, feel a bit confident, feel a bit happy about it, feel a bit sure of ourselves, and probably be able to deliver whatever we promise to the client. So, thereby the next question, if you would like to take it.
Sir, I am taking one more from the public. Interesting question. Very interesting question, Anand, because we are working on it somewhere. So that's relating, though the person doesn't know, but we know where we are working from. Post-pandemic, work from home has come to stay. What are the major threats for remote access and work? How are these overcome? What tools are applied by the IS auditor? The question is very simple. Now with COVID coming in, work from home is going to stay. We are going to fight with our wife, children, and everyone. That's going to stay, right? On the lighter side. But yes, what are the major threats to work from home is something which we need. He was asking.
I think, I will add, and maybe Sachin Bhai can add more on that. But there are new threats which are emerging, and organizations are doing it. Taking care of that. Because earlier, what is happening is I had a control over in an office environment where what is happening with my data. So there's a very interesting concept we call in cybersecurity data in rest and data in motion. So now my data in rest, which was there at organization level, now because of a kind of my area of controls is going out, I have to be seeing some of the things which we call it the device risk. Because let's say, for example, I'm actually using a device which is my personal device, and there is a BYOD software and other things which is running on that. If it is not being properly implemented, there are other risks. If I'm having the company data and I'm working on, I hope you have noticed one very interesting thing. A lot of work of BPO in Bangalore, which used to be done on banking side, has gone back to US. They don't want to get it done here because now people are anyway working from home, and you're not very secure that the banking related data are secure out there. So there are challenges on that. And the third thing which has happened, which is very interesting, is the incident. The hackers are working overtime right now. The bad guys are really working overtime right now. Because when you have at all the network things, you cannot have an enterprise level of security like firewalls and all the things in a home environment. And when you're working like that on this one, the chances of compromising it becomes very high. So yes, organizations are thinking of this one, and they have put some checks and balances. Their VPNs are there, virtual private network and all things. But what happens is there is I have seen on the road, on National Highway, they put one word, Suraksha Ati, Durghatna Ghati. So you can't have it all the time. Full-fledged things are there. So the moment your guards are down, it is possible it can be done. But more than that, I would say there are more device risks which are coming into picture. And we are already seeing that kind of, compromises which are happening on the network. So Sachin Bhai, you want to get?
Yes, sir. Sir, the risk that
सचिन आपका आवाज ब्रेक हो रहा है.
I think there's some disconnection which has taken place.
Access the data from anywhere in the world, then anyone in the world can also see the same data. Basically. Right. So that is where the challenge will come up. And then again, I'm very sorry to inform, majority of the MSMEs and everyone that in India, the culture is to go for anything which is freely available. Like give a choice between what is paid and what is free. It's like we have still not learned that software के लिए पैसा देना पड़ता है. They're supposed to pay for software, right? But the first option is anything free, anything for free I can connect. I want 4 people to connect. And this free VPNs they will connect, and then the challenge is, like sir, our employees, it's not their mistake. Okay, they will have one laptop in their home, and that morning he will do the work. In the evening, some uTorrent, some movie will be downloaded with so many Netflix movies and web series and everything coming up. Nobody wants to pay for that also, so they will find out any on Telegram or something like that, download it up. So because now we are seeing now, like when I get an audit of 30 computers now. Previously, it was a 2-day job. Okay, go into their network, connect to one of their devices and scan the entire network, my job done. Okay, now, trust me, sir, it's like we have to call every employee and then tell him, boss, keep your computer active. And then first debate with him for 15 minutes. Boss, are you going to take my personal data? Are you going to see my browser history? Are you going to see my banking data? And then debate it out with him. Okay, boss, no, yeah, this is your boss is saying, your IT guy is saying, yeah, don't argue with me. Yeah. Who am I to say I'm here only to scan your system and give the report? No, then, it's like all these things. Why? Because now we are coming after their personal devices. And that is what worries them. Okay. And that is where they figure their way out. So this kind of, I will always feel that, like Anandji was rightly saying, this is what the hackers are taking advantage of, sir. Now there is going to be more and more because the opportunities are going to come up more because of this work from home. So when we go for convenience of taking our data and accessing the data from home, along with convenience should come certain security or certain responsibilities of securing the data itself. Otherwise, we will only think of convenience, then I'm sure security will go for us.
Chairman, sir, I think the certification course we are going to do for chartered accountants, along with that, we need to do a general awareness program for the citizens of this country so that they also get sensitized and they also take services of chartered accountants in this entire area.
Yes, we'll do that. Don't worry. So now, another small question. What is the time frame which you people estimate would be required for a person to establish himself once he starts working in this field? It's a tricky question, probably no one answer, but whatever best you could enlighten us on this topic.
Sorry, sir, I missed your question. There was some disturbance.
Okay. Ananda, the question is, we've understood that we should start and try to do it, learn, etc. But now my question is, what is the approximate time frame which you envisage would be required for one person or somebody to establish himself in this field?
Okay, that's a very good question, sir. I would say, anyway, it will depend on people to people, but on a kind of average thing, what I could say that if someone dedicatedly thinks that I want to make a full-fledged, I want to move into this, and I don't want to be on two boats or anything as such, I'll specialize on that. I would say a standard time would be 2 to 3 years. It will take him to establish himself. He can, I'm not saying day one he will have problem. No. He can start with basic areas and all the thing in the day. What we call it year zero. Year zero would be the starting point. And 1 or 2 years, there's the second year onwards, he would be in a very comfortable position with knowing about himself, what are the opportunities are there. So I'm again telling one very important thing. There are a lot of things, once we learn that area, you can come out with, okay, this opportunity is great. There are a lot of very few people who do specific kind of, work. Like, for example, just to get people ready for one PCI DSS assignment itself is a big problem. But you require a lot of expertise on that kind of thing. So I would say a good time would be to start with a small certification and other thing. Start with small engagements which are there at local levels and all thing, or their existing clients. And then, I would say year 0 to year 2, they would be able to establish themselves as a person. That is my submission. It's very much possible. It can be done.
So, another one very important point which you also mentioned is that you should be in one boat. That is the crux, I think. Not ki I have started this as a vertical and I am also doing my audit work and I am also doing income tax consultancy and also doing GST work. That's not what you basically advocate or...
No, I would differ on that, sir. I'll tell like this, sir. I will say, if it is a large firm with 5-6 partners, I would say one person should specialize on that.
Agreed.
That is my approach. But if it is a small firm, my suggestion is, see the opportunity side, sir. With all due respect, like okay, in CA examination, CA final, I got an exemption in income tax, but I'm very scared of income tax still. I get my income tax filed by someone else. I'm not a very good guy in like passing. I don't know how I got exemption. That is a different thing. So my point is that I went into a specialization. So, in our institute also, we said there is a time for specialization. Either you like taxation, specialize in taxation. You like indirect taxation, that is there. If you are like this area, which is now emerging area, you have to give your time to that. There is I heard this thing from one of my friend who is actually from Delhi. They said that there's in a Hindi word which says dukan ki seva karni padti hai. Like you have to give that business, any business you do, any work you do, you have to give some time to that. You have to work for that. That is the kind of thing which I would say you have to build it up.
Yes, borrowing a phrase from the stock market, it is not timing the market. It is basically time in the market. So similarly, it's basically the time which you spend doing this work, which is important. And I appreciate your point that you also try to say that if it's a small firm, 1 or 2 people, then probably one person would not be able to devote all his time, but still he could start that. And once he is able to justify the return, he could give more and more time to this activity and decide upon where his interest lies. Okay.
Sir, just to add to, I wanted to share one thing because I met one young chartered accountant in Chennai. 3 chartered accountants have come together. One is specializing in Ind AS, one is specializing in taxation, and one is only into cybersecurity. And that is a very interesting combination. They have actually working 3 people, young chartered accountant, only 2-3 staff and all things, and they are doing pretty good. Now they have like over a 2-3 years period. Each of them have a pretty good clientele and areas of things. So people can build up. I'm saying it all depends on it.
I agree. And one thing which I would really like to repeat here is one thing which our vice chairman often says or advocates is about the networking. Even if we are unable to start in the beginning, if we could network and provide these services and slowly but surely learn it and have 1 or 2 people in our team exclusively doing it, I think it could turn out to be into a very big area. So the key is one person getting interested, creating a network, you cannot do everything yourself. So, and this is a field which you people very rightly said is constantly changing, constantly requires updates. A person who may be happy doing the cyber security of a standalone machine may not be happy doing the cyber security of a mobile phone or of a laptop. Somebody may be an expert in, say, iOS, may be doing it good for Mac or MacBook, but may not be so conversant with Linux or something like that. So we have so many variants here that networking is one of the keys. And I think the crux is just trying to do it. One question from the audience, Sachin, I think it's targeted to you specifically. It asks, is it essential to be a hacker before doing a cyber security audit?
Good question, sir. But generally, I would say the word ethical hacker.
Yes, I think hacker is not the correct word.
Right. So, yeah, but yes, sir. To be very honest with things, I would say you have to be in the shoes of the ethical hacker itself, like just to know where the loophole would be, where the weakness would be, how my data can be breached and everything like that. So, sir, in our trainings also, we teach the same ways, how do we attack so that we can learn how to defend, basically. So, yeah.
मतलब जिसको पुलिस में कहते हैं क्रिमिनल माइंडसेट की तरफ से देखो, try and use that part of your brain. Sachin, I think, has got disconnected at the moment. But Anand bhai, I think Sachin is saying it because he's an ethical hacker, so he's slightly biased towards that.
Sir, I would say, see, my point which is there is, I don't know how many of you people know, but the complete courseware of certified ethical hacker is online right now. people like, you can just go to book.com and download it up. The material is very interesting. It tells you about all the things, but it is more on the tools, how to use the tools and the fundamental. And the attack is the best defense. There is a kind of a saying out there. We have to have the mindset. That is no doubt. It will give us a good thing. And see, in many a time when we are trying to do penetration testing, you need to have a mindset of a hacker. That is for sure. We have to do it. But as Sachinji rightly said, it's an ethical hacker. We are getting paid to do that. It's not like we have a permission to do it. There are a lot of documentation which is made before that. I would not say it is mandatory to start with, but I have gone through the complete course material which is there because one of my friend was doing this course. I didn't do it. There are a lot of tools which are very useful, like Nessus and other things. How do you use those tools? It gives you a good insight about that. But I would say it's all depends on what area you do. Once you are there for 1 year, I'm telling you, you yourself will know what area you want to do the certification and what you want to get for that. So you first get your legs into the water, then you know the swimming part, kaisa karna hai, which all the things will come. Okay.
Chairman sir, in continuation to this, one more interesting question is there, which is for my interest. Just as ICAI has labs for giving training on IT for students, in that way, why not have labs for members where they can get latest hands-on training on cyber audit?
Do you want to answer this also, Deavai?
No, you have to answer, sir.
Yeah, because Deavai will say, come to Hyderabad, come to the Center of Excellence. We have the systems, we have the tools. Well, Deavai, you're correct. I think at a number of places, today, 6 in total, we have these forensic labs which we have established. The first lab was established, I believe, in Hyderabad. The second in Kanpur. We have one in Chandigarh and a couple of one in Noida. The first was in Noida, I believe. The first was in Noida. So we have these 5-6 labs up and running, but due to COVID restrictions, we are unable to use them to the fullest right now. But we are also planning a virtual lab slowly. So we are moving forward in this direction. We would try to give our members as much training as possible. That is high on the agenda list. And one of the most advanced labs is in Hyderabad, where the Vice Chairman comes from. So I think that is why this question is of great interest to him.
No, Chairman sir, just from the lighter side to the important side, really thanks to you particularly, because the vision with which you have thought about that, there can be a training model as well as pay and use model. And you might be aware, which we are working on with this 41 computers which has come to Center of Excellence Hyderabad. Friends, I would like to thank on behalf of each one of you to the chairman to have this kind of vision, to think about, and the person who asked the question, really thanks to you that you asked this question so that we are able to share, we are able to remember and talk about it. But yes, times to come where you will be in position like across the length and breadth of the country, we are going to use this model going forward. I think, Chairman sir, what we can do is ITT labs are there, which are being invested. We have invested huge amount of this desktops which we have purchased. So those things can be, uploaded. And as rightly said by you, with regards to the cloud-based tools, technologies can be implemented for the training and use. That will be fantastic.
Yes, we'll do that thereby. And one more question, Sachin, which I think a number of people have asked is regarding that Flexi Spy which you showed. People are asking how to find it out. Well, I would try to give the answer. You correct me if I'm wrong. You go to the app section, which Sachin Bhai said, browse through the apps which are installed on your mobile. And if you find Flexi Spy, delete it immediately if you have not installed it yourself. Am I right, Sachinji, or is there any other method also?
Sir, sir, you're right all the way. Just I will add up. Basically, sir, you're right. You may have to check manually, sir. Manually is the best way to check the phone security. Go into apps, go into settings, and then check what kind of permissions the applications have taken. Okay, so basically we know that Truecaller is taking permissions for location, contacts, SMS, messages. Fair enough. But do we see any other app which we have not installed but has taken a lot of permissions? Basically, right? And for those who don't want to do the manual way, run an antivirus.
Okay, so two ways which Sachin Bhai spoke about. One is run an antivirus. It will most probably come up with that. And second, he said not to search for the name, because today the name is FlexiSpy. Tomorrow it could be Mr. X or something else. So you have to look into the permissions. And one thing which I would also like to state here is, just to add to the two learned faculties, is that, friends, every app asks for n number of permissions, which we have to give if we want that app to run. So what is important is to just stop for half a second, see what permission it is asking for, and analyze yourself whether that permission is required in the app or not. Whether that application, suppose an app asks for voice control or voice recording or voice identification, then you have to first of all try and find out whether there is any voice activated command in that app or not. If it is not there, then it means there is something wrong, or it is asking for something which is not required. Now, if it asks for photo permission, then you have to see whether there is any functionality where you can take a photo, store a photo. If not, then that is also something which is not required. So you can analyze, or at least if you have access, ask the app developer, if it is a app which you've got developed, why is this permission required? Once you come to know, yes, this is required because I'm using this function, well and good. But if I'm not using this function, it is a big red flag which we have to find an answer for. Am I correct, Sachin?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Perfect.
App chairman cannot be wrong. One more interesting question has come, Chairman, sir. This is how the Data Protection Act implementation helps CAs in Tier 2 or Tier 3 city. This is something very nice. I think the Data Protection Act is becoming day by day more critical and important, and it is becoming a legal battle in most of the cases also. So Anand, your or Sachin's view on that?
Yes, sir. See, Data Protection Act, see, the draft is there, but I think the Data Protection Act, once it comes into its entirety, then we will be able to put it out there. Because right now, the draft is out there, and there are a lot of, I would say, discussion which is going on. But I have, one more point which I want to say for, our friends who are in Tier 2, Tier 3 city. One thing we have to learn from our sister organization, CPE. I think they have done a very interesting. And initially, this I don't know if you remember, they came out with something called as Web Trust, which means every website used to have a Web Trust seal which is there, and it was basically audited by CPAs in US. Now, similarly, they have made a big business out of one kind of certification, which we all know, SOC 2, Service Organization Controls. Now, SOC 1, SOC 2, SOC 3 reports. If you see Amazon website also, today it has to have a SOC 3 report out there on their website so that you can trust it. Now, if you see we have already the standard which is there. SA 402. Our SA 402 is all about service organization. I think somewhere, this can be actually a kind of, from a perspective audit, whenever any financial audit is happening, and we see that some work has been outsourced for that company. Let's say companies like Airtel have outsourced more than 70% of their, non-core business to IBM and other things. We should ask for a report under that. A service organization control report should be asked. I think which we are not doing, and it will actually generate a lot of interesting, I would say, business opportunity for Tier 2, Tier 3 cities CAs also, because all the work will be, outsourced there and all the thing, and that can be one of the things. So I would say that is some of the things which we need to, think over and see how we can actually leverage it. Apart from that, there are some other areas which is there, but they're not maybe they're good for learning purpose thereby, but not at going at as a bigger role, I would say. Sachin,
right.
Sir, same thing. You're absolutely right. Like, still date, the GDPR is still in draft, but till the time it comes into act, everybody has got their own opinions. Like, every lawyer is saying different things about the GDPR and the Data Protection Act of India. So until it comes into focus, but yeah, we do believe that somewhere down the line there is this talk about the cyber warfare, coming up. Like biomedical war and cyber war. Like the third war would be like a cyber war itself. So that is where we can take advantage that, okay, somewhere down the line, slowly, the government will work on the compliances part, like the cybersecurity part. So first started with RBI, they did it for the finance, then they did it with SEBI, then they're doing it with RBI. Now the hospitals are being taken care of. I'm sorry, but somewhere down the line, the acts will fall on ICAI or CS lawyers, doctors, like somewhere down. So give or take, everybody will come under the umbrella of securing the data itself. Sooner or later, it's just a matter of time. So yeah, so tier 2, tier 3 cities, I would say that anybody who's working online, generating revenue online, making payments online, somewhere down the line, you can try to have a word with them, and see how their infrastructure is, compare it with yours, work first on yours, and then you can see sooner or somewhere down the line, it will be mandated on them, and you can go and approach them at that point of time. So you need to identify that in tier 2, tier 3 cities, who are the small mid-sized firms or organizations who are working online right now, who are doing the services online, or who are getting the payments online, or like through various channels and everything like that. This could be your potential people for audits and everything.
Yeah, just to add to what Sachin Bhai said, I don't know how many of you are aware of that. There's a section 43A of IT Act, which is already applicable to CA firms also. Privacy perspective, there should be reasonable security and other things should be there, and that privacy data is there. And there are nowadays, a lot of requirement coming on 43A audit also. So they want to have a privacy audit done and other things. And DSCI is doing a lot of things on this one. So I think that's also a good area where, tier 2, tier 3 cities can check for which are the clients who are coming under this section 43A of, IT Act, and see what are the things which can.
Okay, we have another question from somebody who says that I think since Sachin mentioned Gmail, now the question is, is the use of social media like Facebook and Twitter, etc., secured? How can we safeguard our data by using these accounts?
Sorry, sir, if the question is saying that can we safeguard our data from the social media giants like Facebook and Twitter itself, then my answer is not a chance. I mean, we have already ended up giving all our data, basically. In fact, majority of us have even given our biometrics over there itself. So if the question is whether we can safeguard our data from the technological giants, my answer would be don't worry. I mean, relax. All your data is already gone. It is going, and in future also it might go. So not to worry about our data going to these giants. But if you're worrying whether somebody else, because sir, I know the chartered accountants, sometimes they say that, well, is this data also being seen by the regulators or by the departments? Should we safeguard our data from them? Answer is yes. Yeah, well, social media is been monitored. Generally, what kind of opinions you're giving, what kind of messages you're posting and everything like that. So yes. But general trend is people will try to study your behavior and everything. But there are like, if you want to safeguard your social media from outsiders, let's say from hackers or third parties, then there are various steps, sir. You can do the two-step verification on. You can have multi-factor authentication, like an authenticator on your mobile. You can have your recovery mail, recovery code, backup codes, and everything like that. So there are various ways you can safeguard your data and your privacy itself. But like right now, WhatsApp does the end-to-end encryption. Facebook is also working on the same, so is Instagram. Gmail also ensure that they only get the data and outsiders will not get it, that kind of a thing. So yes, there are certain things which you can do that at least we can ensure that no other third party will get access to our data.
Okay. Anand bhai, anything which you would like to add here?
Not really, sir. I think it's Sajid bhai has added most of the point which is there. And I would say, the point which is very important is what data, as Sachin bhai started, what data we are talking about. See, the personal data anyway has gone out there. Business data protections and other things also, we have to take into everything with a pinch of salt. Many times we just try to overdo it. Like, for example, I just tell you, 5 years back, people used to say, oh, cloud is not secure, cloud is not secure. Now even government data is on the cloud. So security is like, it depends on the point of time. I would say when it is not a mature technology, maybe yes, we can say cloud is not secure. Today, government data is on the cloud. So, we have NIC has a cloud, which most of the government department are using. So our point which should be there is we should go with the time and, try to work it out. I have seen a lot of organizations nowadays who are asking for, which is a very interesting area, which brings to me, cloud security area. There is some alliance, and they have a kind of a regular cybersecurity requirement, which is very different than that. So my point, which is there is, people can see when one door closed, another open. When one of the areas which is going down, the other area which is coming up is on the cloud. Because cloud security is very, very complex altogether. Trying to understand it up. If you ask today, how many people are there in India who can configure AWS server or environment network properly? It will be less than 100 people, 100 people, who knows it up there. Now, that living it up and all the things itself can be a great area. So that's my point, which I would, submit out this.
Devi, any question which you have?
See, one question which is very interesting, Manu sir. Very nice one. Dear sirs, I feel that there will be more requirement of cyber security in the healthcare sector, which is actually a true fact, which I also have one client which is actually doing certain very interesting things. Will be requiring a healthcare sector, particularly in present vaccination program, as the data are vital here. Incidents of wrong SMS, wrong type of vaccine are occurring due to information system. Can we help in this regard?
Very good question, actually. This is actually happening. I was reading.
No, listen, Anand. The best part is, Chairman sir, it is coming from one of the smallest cities of Karnataka, which is called Udupi.
Oh, nice.
Okay,
nice.
Just imagine if this thinking ability is there with our chartered accountants. I think we should be very happy that we can actually churn out very good professionals in the system. It is not, we don't have any borders, sir, with regards to large company, small company, big company and all. It is now time has come. There is no borders at the national level and the international level with regards to doing systems and systems audit, cyber security and all other related areas. Over to you, Anand.
Sir, you are underestimating Udupi, sir.
No, not Udupi. I am telling there are many questions which have come from different locations.
Yeah. No, I'm telling you that innovation, what a lot of people have to understand, the next level of innovation is coming from tier 2, tier 3 cities of India only. And they will come there because the problem statements are different and that's how it is there. But this question is very relevant question. And in fact, 2 days back, I was reading one news also, which said the person was first given Covishield and then he was given Covaxin. So whether it's effective or double effective, no one knows what has happened. But this kind of things are happening. And I hope you have seen which happened in Bangalore. I'm not sure if you have seen it. And that shows the beauty of the cybersecurity and IS audit. So we had, the BBMP hospital. One fiasco happened when there was an MP who came onto the thing and said everything is wrong. And then they took help from my previous organization, Infosys, to develop a new application which was on Power BI and all things. Now, yes, you are right. There is going to be a lot more requirement out there. Already there are issues which is coming. There are controversy which happened in Kerala, where the data was given, government data about all the vaccination and all the people who got COVID was shared with the public, private, research bodies and all the things. So in time to come, we will see that requirement coming. And also, thereby, what you said makes sense in insurance companies also. See the thing, there are insurance companies also who are actually very interested in the data. The hospital have the data, the patients are there, the government wants to know it. So there are multiple stakeholders who are involved and they would like to know how we can actually use it more effectively. So I am 110% sure medical areas are going to be the area of concerns in next time, and people will actually be trying to see it from a different perspective altogether and see the importance of data which is there, manage it.
There were any questions which you have now?
I think more or less there are different similar kind of questions which are there with regards to how do I prepare, how do I move. So friends, I think the chairman
there was one question which I think a number of people are asking. Sachin spoke about installing a virus scanner in the mobile. So people are asking which to use. I know you're not endorsing any product, Sachin, don't worry. But give one or two options if you have, or one option, even if it is just one.
Sir, like to be honestly speaking, sir, in terms of antivirus, everything is like a cat and mouse game only. So today I might recommend Quickhill, but tomorrow I might recommend Net Protector or an EVG or a Kaspersky, because everybody has to remain updated. Like today this antivirus is good because they have updated themselves. Like tomorrow some other antivirus might update. So sir, generally I would say that if in your phone there's an inbuilt antivirus coming nowadays with some good phones, use that. That will do. You do not need to buy anything else. But in case if you don't have anything, you can go with Quickhill or Kaspersky or Lookout or anything else will do.
Okay.
Any good
So,
antivirus?
मतलब ठीक है. Okay. So thereby, I think most of the questions have been answered.
Yes, sir.
So I would just like to.
Yeah.
Yes, you want to ask something?
No, there are similar kind of questions which are there. And what I wanted to tell our participants was, please join the 3 days certification program. I think all your questions will be answered.
Yes, I would also like to say that the dates would be announced shortly. It would be in the month of June. We would pre-announce that. It would be informed by the institute at a website and through mails. And we are planning that we design a course which will help you start this practice. We discussed about how to start cybersecurity audit as a vertical in your firm or as one of the areas of practice. We would try to take it one step ahead and try to give you hands-on experience, try to tell you all the tools which are required, give you an experience on how to use them, and make you at least, if not an expert, somebody ready to start the cybersecurity audit. With this, it's over to the other.
Thank you, Chairman. Time has come to end this session as such, but this is a new beginning which we are going to do today. And more importantly, I would like to first thank both the speakers who have actually added value and thought process in the entire mind of people. We have close to 10,000 people registration which is there, and maximum number of people, close to 8,000 people are attending that. And Anand Bhai and Sachin, thank you very much for giving you a value add. And the best part is, I learned today from you both is that, this is one profession which is going to be new every day. So whatever you are going to share today is may not be relevant tomorrow, may not be fully relevant tomorrow. But sharing information of today and what it might come for future itself is a big thing. And to have a vision, thank you, Chairman Sir, for having this kind of thought where we could actually make it possible. For the first time, we have done these system audit related seminar where we had 18,000 people. That itself shows that people are inclined and focused towards the future of their life and the profession. I don't want to miss out on Aniket Bhai for supporting the entire discussion at every time when we want, and the entire office which has already been there in the process to ensure that new things get added, along with the entire digital team of ICAI, which is ensuring that that kind of knowledge dissemination is happening at the length and breadth of the country. Not only country, internationally also our international chapter members are there who are participating, who are curious to learn and understand new things. So with this, I thank each one of you who have participated today, and requesting you that we are setting a new vision, new tone to the entire profession. It is not only going to be an accounting and audit related work. Now the accounting and audit related work has been expanded to digital accounting and digital exposures of risk, which is there, which includes the cybersecurity, which is the crucial one in the entire process. The more and more technology is going to be used for doing financial transactions, the more and more demand for chartered accountant is going to go high. The highest will be the demand of people who understand technology with the accounting background. Time is coming for us in times to come. So just gear up, be ready. Chairman sir, kindly guide us always like this in the same format where we can think new, different, and more importantly, futuristic in this learning process. Thank you all. Thank you very much. Over to you, Chairman sir.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, sir.